President, please be seated. The court is now in session. Today, the chamber continues to hear the testimony of witness Ban Sia. And we also have a reserve witness that is 2TCW 904. And today we have Counsel Evidentiary as a duty counsel for the witness. Mr. Hoi, please report the attendance of the parties and other individuals at today's proceedings. Grazie. Mr. President, for today's proceedings, all parties to this case are present. Mr. Nguyen Chi is present in the holding cell downstairs. He has waived his right to be present in a courtroom. The waiver has been delivered to the greffier. The witness who is to conclude his testimony today, that is Mr. Ban Sia, is present in the courtroom with his duty counsel. We also have a reserve witness that is 2TCW 904, who confirms that to the best of his knowledge, he has no relationship by blood or by law to any of the two accused, that is Nguyen Chi and Khieu Sampon, or to any other civil parties admitted in this case. The witness will take an oath before the chamber. President, thank you. The chamber now decides on the request by Nguyen Chi. The chamber has received a waiver from Nguyen Chi dated 6 October 2015, which states that due to his health, headache, back pain, he cannot sit or concentrate for long, and in order to effectively participate in future hearings, he requests to waive his right to participate in and be present at the 6 October 2015 hearing. Having seen the medical report of Nguyen Chi by the duty doctor for the accused at the ECCC dated 6 October 2015, which notes that Nguyen Chi has chronic back pain and dizziness when it's for long, and recommends that the chamber grant him his request so that he can follow the proceedings remotely from the holding cell downstairs. Based on the above information and pursuant to Rule 81.5 of the ECCC internal rules, the chamber grants Nguyen Chi his request to follow today's proceedings remotely from the holding cell downstairs via audio-visual means. The chamber instructs the AV unit personnel to link the proceedings to the room downstairs so that Nguyen Chi can follow the proceedings. This applies to the whole day. Counsel Evidentiary, do you have the floor? GT Counsel, good morning, Mr. President, Your Honors. During the proceedings, may I take note of important questions on my personal laptop? President, yes, you may do that during the proceedings to hear this witness. The chamber now hands the floor to the defense teams to put question to the witness. First, to the defense team for Khieu Sampon. President, rather it's to the defense team for Nguyen Chi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors. Good morning, Counsel. And good morning, Mr. Ban Sia. I am the International Co-Counsel for Nguyen Chi. And I would like to ask you some questions this morning. I will be asking you many questions about the rebellion in Krčmar after May 1978, about which you were asked many questions yesterday. But do you know whether 3 years previously in the same district there had also been a rebellion in Svekleng, a rebellion in Kopal, and possibly Tree Village? Were you aware of that?
No, I did not know about any rebellion before my arrival, and as I testified yesterday, there was a rebellion by Khmer people while I was there, and it was not initiated by the Cham people.
Very well. Let me now go to Sector 42, 1976-1977. I would like to read to you an excerpt from a telegram signed by K-Pauk. It's dated April 1976. Mr. President, that's document E3/952. ERN English 001-82658. Khmer 000000766. And French 00350762. And up until 3. Mr. Witness, the telegram is sent, as I said, from K-Pauk and is directed to Pol Pot. And I would like to read that excerpt to you, and then I would like to ask your comments, please. The enemy situation in the entire North Zone. Fundamentally, the enemy has not yet conducted any strong activity which has impacted the people or the production movement. In general, the situation is stable, but at the same time, they have carried out some activities. For example, they made propaganda that the revolution is strict. They made propaganda to resist the cooperatives and the new rice field dike system. And they made propaganda about hunger. Specifically, some activity has appeared in Chamkarlu district. The enemies are former soldiers in combination with the Cham and former cooperative team chairman. They used copies of photo of Lon Nol and Nol's announcement of 18 March 1970 to post on tree trunks near Trapying village in Chamkarlu district, and conducted other activities like burning forests and destroying crops like bananas, papaya. Mr. Witness, were you aware at the time or later, maybe in 77, about such activities that are being described in this telegram?
No, I was not aware of that, because it was in the latter part of the year that I was reassigned from the fishing lots.
But activities like burning down forests, apparently done by Cham and soldiers. Were you ever aware of that in 77 or later?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
You testified yesterday answering questions about the sweeping clean of cadres in the former North Zone. And in one of your WRIs, you say they swept clean the leadership, meaning those who were affiliated with the CIA. Can you explain to me what exactly do you mean when you said affiliated with the CIA? What does that mean?
I learned through other brothers like Eun, who said that in our zone, Tut was the head of the CIA. For that reason, sweeping clean was started from the top down to the bottom, including core persons or group chiefs at the bottom level.
Now, of course, Un, as I'm sure you understood at the time, didn't literally mean that Koitun was the head of the CIA, because we all know the CIA is an American organization. What did Un mean when he said Koitun was quote-unquote the head of the CIA?
He said in the confession he was the head of CIA, and later on Jay, the in-law of Eun, was also arrested on the allegation that he was linked to the CIA network.
In one of your WRIs you said Koitun was the head of the CIA, and you understood Sao Pim to be the head of the KGB in the East. Now we all know that the KGB is an organization that belonged to the Soviet Union, and we also know that Sao Pim wasn't Russian. What did you mean when you said that Sao Pim was the head of the KGB in the East Zone?
Witness, please hold on, and the Deputy Co-Prosecutor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is just a request if counsel is going to cite or quote this witness that he give us the ERN and document number so that we can ourselves review what the witness said.
I was referring, Mr. President, to E3/375, English ERN 003 60757, French 00369919, and Khmer 00348797 and 98, and it reads, they just informed us that Koitun, alias Tuch, was the head of the CIA, and Sao Yan, alias Pim, was the head of the KGB in the East. Now, Mr. Witness, as I said, Sao Pim wasn't Russian, and he wasn't literally the head of the KGB. What did you understand that to mean at the time?
I I didn't really understand about that. They mentioned about the KGB and the CIA on the blackboard, and that they were the dogs serving the American and serving the UN.
Are you saying, in fact, that being a KGB or being a CIA respectively means that you are collaborating with the Vietnamese and collaborating with the Americans? Is that what you mean?
Yes, that is correct.
Let me now go to Sector 42. Before your in-law Un became chief of Sector 42, do you know who before him was the chief of Sector 42? Who was his predecessor?
No, I did not.
Does the name Tol ring a bell?
I recall that Tol was from Batsana village, Batsana commune.
And was he in fact the Sector 42 chief until his arrest in 1977?
No, I did not know about that.
Yesterday you spoke quite a bit about Un. Un being the biological brother of Susun, who you said at one point died of HIV. Un, the secretary of Sector 42. Do you recall another Un? Un, who was the chief of Division 310, belonging to the former North Zone.
No, I did not.
What do you remember about Koi Tum? What can you tell us about Koi Tum? Who was he? What were his functions? And why was he ultimately arrested?
I cannot recall that. He said that Koi Thun was chief of the Central Zone and later on Minister of Commerce.
And besides being quote unquote chief of the CIA, what was your understanding that he had done wrong in order for him to be arrested?
No, I did not know about any other related activities.
Yesterday, you were confronted with an excerpt from a WRI statement from K. Pauk's son. K. Pik Banak is his name. Mr. President, that's document E3/35. in English, page 00346-148, Khmer 0034056-2, and French.
Council, please repeat the number again and do it slower this time.
Yes, I apologize, Mr. President. Khmer 0034056-2 and French 003667720. The son of Kepauk speaks about Koitun, and he speaks about the Division 310 Chairman Un, and he says, and I quote, Uncle Un was the chairman of Division 1 and also a former confidant and messenger of Grand Uncle Tut. Now I realize you just said that you don't know any other Un, but do you know someone who was the chairman of Division 1, being a former confidant and messenger of Koitun?
No, I did not.
Some time ago, Mr. Witness, in June 2015, more specifically 22nd of June 2015, we heard in this courtroom the testimony of a combatant belonging to Division 310. His name is Sam Hun. Mr. President, that's document E1/319. And at that day, at around 1534, Sam Hun gives the following testimony, and I would like to read that to you and ask your reaction, please, Mr. Witness. Question. Let me start with your role in this rebellion. You said that Un gave you a platoon to lead and 655 trucks to transport weapons to hide in Kampong Cham. Did you in fact follow his orders, his instructions to hide weapons in Kampong Cham? And then answer, I did what was said in the document. Question. And where did you hide these weapons in Kampong Cham? Answer. I transported weapons to Kampong Cham and I handed over to Tol, the committee of the sector. I did not know where he kept those weapons. Now, Mr. Witness, this Sam Hun is testifying about all kinds of other things. It all boils down to assembling weapons for a rebellion, armed rebellion in the North Zone, led by Koitun and Division Commander Un and Tol and others. When I read this to you, does that somehow sound familiar when you were in Sector 42 at the time?
No, I did not know about that because at that time I was a combatant at the fishing lodge.
I understand, but later you, if I may call it like this, started to rise in the hierarchy. You were close to Kepauk, close to Un. Did they ever tell you anything about what happened in 77 in the former North Zone? Why people were arrested? In, for instance, the very same district in which you later became the deputy, Chamkalu. Did they tell you anything about that?
Yes, I was told about that. I was told that in the old North Zone or the Central Zone, it was full with the CIA agents.
And what was the purpose of the activities of these quote-unquote CIA agents?
I did not know about their activities.
Have you ever heard that they tried to stage a coup d'etat, attack Pochentong Airport, close down a radio station, send troops to Phnom Penh? Have you ever heard of that?
Yes, I heard about that. I heard about them hiding ammunition under their shirt and they went to Phnom Penh. However, they were all arrested.
Can you be a little more specific? What else did they do other than hiding weapons and ammunition?
Answer. All I heard was that rebels in Phnom Penh had hidden ammunition under their clothing to go to Phnom Penh. And when they arrived in Phnom Penh, the secret leaked and they were arrested. And it was said that it was a rebellion hatched by Khoi Thuon to overthrow Pol Pot.
And do you know how this rebellion hatched by Khoi Thuon was supposed to unfold? What were their plans? What did they want to do exactly?
Answer. I know nothing at all about that rebellion.
Very well. Mr. Witness, yesterday you spoke about an entity called the Labour Party, and in your written record of investigation, your WRI, you also spoke about the Workers' Party. Let me get for you the exact quote. You said, that's E3, Mr. President, E3/375, English ERN 00, excuse me, 360757, French 00369919, and Khmer 00348798. In your WRI you said, question, why were they considered as the CIA and KGB? And then your answer is, I thought that at the time chaos was stirred up due to the existence of three main parties. First, the Communist Party of Kampuchea, following Mao Zedong's guidelines. Second, Saraikar Party, CIA. And third, the Workers' Party, KGB. And yesterday, according to the draft transcript, you said at around 15:20 To my knowledge, at my location there were Khmer cadres who had been trained at Vietnam. They were part of Labour Party. And when the Vietnamese entered Cambodia, they were part of the force to build its own force on the ground, and later on they had been purged. So on two different occasions you speak about the Workers' Party. What exactly was your understanding of the Workers' Party to be? Who were members, for instance?
Answer. KGB agents were members of the Workers' Party of Indochina. Their leader was Thangat alias Pum. I subsequently did not get to know what happened, but I heard that he committed suicide in the East Zone. And that contributed to the rallying of the people from the East Zone with the Vietnamese. They joined the Vietnamese.
You said Sao Pim was the leader of the Workers' Party. Do you remember other members, prominent members of the Workers' Party of Cambodia?
Answer: no, none.
Do you know when the Workers' Party was founded?
Answer: Kepok was a member of the Workers' Party, and he subsequently joined the Cambodia Communist Party. But what I know is that the Workers' Party was set up in 1967-68. So Kepok left the Workers' Party to join the Cambodia Communist Party.
And how do you know that the Workers' Party was founded in '67? What's the source of your knowledge?
Answer: Kepok talked about the time when he lived in the jungle from 1963-64. He was a member of the Workers' Party at the time when he was fighting in the jungle, and then he joined the Cambodia Communist Party. Subsequently, I asked him why there was so much turbulence in the country, and he answered by saying that it had been risky for him to join the Cambodia Communist Party in the Central Zone. There were also problems, and he said that he had been in Siem Reap and he had joined the Central Zone subsequently.
In your WRI, the same that I just referred to, Mr. President, E3/375, when you mentioned the Workers' Party, KGB, you said, and I quote, "If you want to get more details about this, you can ask Moon, who now lives and sells gasoline in Andong Veng, who was the wife of Pek Ching alias Tato, who was former Cambodian ambassador to China during the DK period." Why is Moon someone who can tell us something more or give more details about the Workers' Party?
Answer. Because he was someone important. Her husband was an ambassador. That is how she came to know about many things.
Did you yourself ever talk to Moon about the Workers' Party, and did she give you details about its existence and its goals?
Answer. Never.
Do you know if Moon is still alive today?
Answer. I haven't seen him for several years now. In the past, I used to see him in front of a petrol station at a pagoda in front of in An Long Veng, at a pagoda in An Long Veng.
Just to be sure, in my translation I hear you referring to Moon as a he, but it is in fact a woman. Is that correct?
Answer. Yes, that is a woman, the wife of Pechim alias Tro, who was ambassador in China.
Mr. Witness, yesterday on a few occasions you mentioned the names of Heng Samrin and Chia Sim respectively. Can you tell us who was Heng Samrin?
Answer. I heard that Heng Samrin was commander of the East Zone Army and Che Sim was the head of Sector 22.
I will get back to Che Sim in a moment. Let me first ask you something more about Heng Samrin. You said he was the commander of the East Zone forces. From when, or when rather, did he become the chief of the East Zone military forces?
Answer. I do not know.
What else do you know about him?
Answer. I know nothing else about him.
Do you know whether he had a sister who was married to Sector 21 Secretary Tuchchem alias Sot?
Answer. No, I do not know.
The son of Kay Pauk also talked about Heng Samrin, E3/35, Mr. President, English ERN 003461153, and Khmer 00340567, and French 00367725. He, the son of Kay Pauk, concurs with you that Heng Samrin was in fact chief of the military division in the East Zone. But he also says that Heng Samrin was chairman of Sector 20 in the East Zone. Can you confirm that, or is that something that you don't know?
Answer, no, I know absolutely nothing about that.
Let me now read to you something that
Deputy Prosecutor, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like counsel, if he could, to identify where it is that Kai Pak's son says that Heng Samrin was the head of the zone military, just because I'm not seeing that. I see a statement that Heng Samrin was the chairman of Sector 20 and of the military division unit. So if he could specify where it is that Kai Pak's son says this, I'd appreciate it.
That's the exact same sentence that I was referring to. That's how I interpret Kai Pak's son statement. Heng Samrin himself acknowledges in his own statement that he was deputy chief of all East Zone military forces. So either he was chief or, according to himself, deputy chief. Returning now to Heng Samrin,
President, Council, please give the reference of the documents as well as the ERN numbers. It would appear that you are trying to avoid giving specific references. Yesterday, you made many objections to questions put by the co-prosecutor, which did not fall within the scope of this trial regarding the treatment of the charm. And now, you are falling in your own trap, which consists in not responding to the remarks made by the co-prosecutor. The co-prosecutor is asking you to give references of documents as well as the ERN numbers.
Well, Mr. President, I just actually gave the document number and the ERNs, but I will be very happy to do it again. So it's the same numbers as I said. It's English 00346153, Khmer 00340567, and French 00367725, and I will read it to you so that there's no confusion.
President, Judge Lavang, please proceed. Judge Lavang, unless I misunderstood you, I thought you were referring to statements of Heng Samrin himself. I didn't hear the references of the documents they are referring to.
I was referring to Heng Samrin's own statement in response to the objection or the observation of the prosecution. You can find his own statement in E3/1568 and E3/1539. But I myself was in fact quoting the statement of Kai Pak's son, and there he says, and I quote, "At the time, Uncle Heng Samrin was the chairman of Sector 20 and of the military division unit." So there we have it. Now, Mr. Witness, I was about to read you something from that very same statement, that very same paragraph about Heng Samrin, and I would like to ask your comment. Kay Pauk's son is asked the following question. When you worked with your father, did you see any noticeable events taking place? And then Kay Pauk's son answers as follows. I recalled the purging event of the East Zone cadres. The purging took place in 2 phases. In the first phase, there was an order from the center to arrest Heng Samrin. After receiving that information order, my father went to meet with Sao Pim. My father told Sao Pim, brother, the upper echelon orders the arrest of Comrade Heng. Sao Pim replied, so Pauk, you send Ah Heng to my house. After my father informed Uncle Heng about that, Uncle Heng disappeared forever. At that time, Uncle Heng Samrin was the chairman of Sector 20 and of the Military Division Unit. Let me ask you something about this particular excerpt, Mr. Witness. Do you know anything about this event that I just described from the WRI of Kay Pauk's son, about the order of the center to arrest Heng Samrin?
Answer, no. Because Vanna was Kay Pauk's messenger. And that is how he came to know about that event.
My last question about Heng Samrin, and then I will move on to Chia Sim, whom you mentioned also yesterday. You said that Sao Pim was the leader of the Workers' Party. Do you know whether Heng Samrin himself was also a member of the Workers' Party?
Answer, no. I have absolutely no idea about that.
Now let me move on to, as I said, Chia Sim. You mentioned him a few times yesterday, and you also mentioned him quite a bit in your statements. But you said that Chia Sim was the chief of Sector 22 in the East Zone. How do you know that?
Answer. When I was transferred to Krochmar, I was told that Chia Sim had betrayed the party and that he was commander of Section 22 and that he had fled. So I had to go there to reorganize the base there. To sum up, therefore, it was said that the East Zone had betrayed Ankar.
Is it possible that you are making an error when you said that he was a member of Sector 22? Because it seems that he was in fact a sector chief in Sector 20. Is that possible?
President, you are asking leading questions or changing the witnesses' answers. You are making suggestions and distorting what the witness has said. Witness, do not answer such questions. President, International Co-Prosecutor, please proceed.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Yes, I agree that if he wants to confront the witness, he should be using some evidence. What he just put to the witness is a misstatement. There are plenty of records that establish what the role of this individual was, and it was not chief of a sector.
I'm not sure, Mr. President, if the prosecution knows the evidence well, because in his own statement, Chia Sim, in E3/1568, ERN 00651,
តែលោកក៏គិតថាភាគីដេញដោលភាគីដទៃទៀតរួមទាំងអង្គជំរះផងគឺមិនចាត់ទុកថាដឹងទេបើដឹងមិនបាច់ទៅដេញដោលទេ
President, everyone is unaware of that. If everyone had been aware of it, you would not need to question the witness on this subject. So please give us any evidence in your possession that establishes the contrary. Examining the witness doesn't mean that you should ask leading questions and suggest things to the witness. I see you laughing. Are you making a mockery of me?
No, not at all, Mr. President. Because I was actually on the verge of saying that according to his own statement, E3/1568, he says, I was secretary of Ponia district and a member of the Region 20 committee, not a member of its standing committee. It is actually confirmed by prosecution's own, between brackets, expert, Craig Atchison, who says in E3/494 that Chia Sim was secretary of Sector 20. So I'm not making it up, and I'm asking the witness whether possibly he made a mistake. If not, then it's fine.
Thank you. This is why he needs to identify the evidence. The quote he just read says he was a district secretary and a small m member of the sector committee, not even a member of the three-person standing committee. So to say this, to represent to this court, this means he was the sector secretary when he is saying he was a district secretary. It's simply wrong, and that's why he needs to use the actual evidence and not characterize himself.
I know it's not something that people like, Mr. President, to talk about Chia Sim or Heng Samrin, but he says himself, I'm a member of the Region Committee, not a member of its standing committee. So he is himself saying that he was in Sector 20. So my question again, Mr. Witness, you said Chia Sim was in Sector 22. Is it maybe possible that he was in fact in Sector 20?
Answer, I know nothing about that. Son Sen had said that Chia Sim had been secretary of sector number 22. I cannot tell you whether or not he was secretary of sector number 20 or not.
No problem. Now another question about the sectors in the East Zone. You said that Krajmar was in Sector 22. Are you sure about that?
Answer, that is what I was told. It was said that the district of Krajmar was attached to sector number 22. That is what I heard during that period.
Again, there's substantial evidence to suggest that Krajmar was in fact in Sector 21 and that you might have been wrong. Do you know who was in charge of Sector 21?
Answer: no, I don't.
Have you ever heard of someone with the name Uk Bun Chun?
No, I have never heard of him.
Now let me get back to Chia Sim. You said in your WRI and just now as well that Chia Sim fled to Vietnam and had broken away from the East Zone to go to Vietnam. Can you tell us how you knew this, how you know that?
Well, when I was assigned to Krochma, they told me that the whole story. They said that Sao Pum was a traitor and that he had gone into the jungle with Chia Siem. That's how I learned about this. And Chia Siem was the head of Sector 22.
Do you know whether Chia Sim was also a member of the Workers' Party, like Sao Pim?
Witness, please hold on, and the Deputy Co-Prosecutor, you have the floor.
Yes, just an observation and something that I think counsel needs to clarify in his questions. There was, of course, the Workers' Party of Kampuchea was, of course, the name of the Communist Party of Kampuchea from 1960 until 1972. So this was the prior name of the Communist Party of Kampuchea. And then there was a Workers' Party that was, if you will, the fictional product of S-21 Confessions. So I think counsel needs to be clear when he's using the term Workers' Party, which entity he's referring to, and what the basis of the witness knowledge is also.
Well, I'm not sure if it's the fictional product of S21, Mr. President, but I'm very happy to phrase my question as such that the witness understand that I'm talking about 78. Mr. Witness, Sao Pim, you said, was the leader of the Workers' Party when he fled. Was that in 78?
What I know is that when I went there, I was told that Chia Sim was part of CIA and betrayed the party, and they spoke about the Workers' Party in relation to the Indo-China Federation.
Let me now turn to what you found or what you saw when you arrived in the East Zone in the summer, or rather May or June 78 or later. You said that when you arrived in the East Zone, the situation was in chaos because there were many different groups in that sector. I'll be happy to give the exact quote for this, Mr. President. That's E319/28.1. It's question A3, an answer. it says the East Zone was in chaos then because there were many different groups in that sector. Mr. Witness, what exactly did you mean when you said when you came there, the East Zone was in chaos and there were many different groups in that sector?
Upon my arrival, the situation was tense since GSM and Heng Samrin actually had formed the Salvation Front, and I learned from brothers that they had done that, and that we had to be vigilant with the militia force. That's how I was told.
So that was one of the groups you said that you saw when you arrived in the East Zone. You speak about many different groups, though. What do you mean when you speak about many different groups?
What I meant is that when I arrived, there was a rebellion by the mobile unit group. That is about 10 days after my arrival, and then the purge was carried out.
I will speak to you at length after the break about that particular rebellion. Are you saying that the people involved in that rebellion were different from the group that you described as the National Salvation Front under the leadership of Heng Samrin and Chia Sim?
Yes, that is correct.
Were there any other groups active in the East Zone other than those two groups when you arrived?
No, there wasn't.
Have you ever learned whether there was any connection between this one group that orchestrated the rebellion and on the other hand the National Salvation Front? Were they interconnected?
Yes, they said that the rebellious people were the KGB, and Chia Sim and Heng Samrin were accused of KGB as well.
But do you know whether they were actively working together, these two groups?
It is my understanding that it was active. It seems that the situation was ripe for people to rebel, and that they were not satisfied with the leadership of the Communist Party of Cambodia.
Before I turn to the rebellion that you described at length, do you know whether there was at the same time also fighting going on between forces and Vietnamese troops at the border between Cambodia and Vietnam?
I knew it for sure that there were border clashes since there were many dead soldiers who were transported back.
And what can you tell us about details of the fighting? What was going on exactly, other than you seeing dead soldiers coming back?
I do not know how to describe the event in detail.
In his WRI, Kapok's son speaks about 30,000 dead Khmer Rouge soldiers because of the fighting at the border with the Vietnamese. Can you react on that number?
I saw many soldiers who were either dead or wounded, and they were transported by hundreds of trucks every day. And we learned from the wounded soldiers about the casualties. And it happened so quick that not for long they reached our location.
But he's using a specific number, 30,000. What is your recollection of casualties at the quote-unquote Khmer Rouge site? What have you heard at the time you were stationed in the East Zone about this?
No, I did not know any specific figure. President, it is time appropriate for a short break. We'll take a break now and resume at 10:30. Court officer, please assist the witness during the break and invite him as well as his duty counsel back into the courtroom at 10:30. The court is now in recess.
សូមអញ្ជើញក្រកឈរ